Overwhelming support today in the search for a missing University of Virginia student. Folks from the Charlottesville community are flocking to a call center to help take in tips that could lead to Hannah Graham's location. She vanished 2 weeks ago. Police say they have received more than 2,400 tips and want the calls to keep coming in. Realtors are also stepping up, searching vacant homes for Graham.
All of us have these vacant listings, and I don't have any farm properties, but still there's some corners around here that someone could hide something. So I came up and just did a look around. You know, we're all just trying to find her.
Meanwhile, the prime suspect in her disappearance, Jesse Matthew, is being held in isolation in a Virginia jail. Matthew was extradited overnight from Texas. He is charged with abduction with the intent to defile. Let's bring in our legal guys, Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor, joining us from Cleveland. Good to see you again. And Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas today. Good to see you. So, Richard, this intent to defile, what kind of physical evidence would there have to have been in order to charge Jesse Matthew, even though we've heard from the authorities that they haven't received the results yet from the forensic exams, or at least they haven't made them public?
Yeah, it's a big difference there. I think that they have the results, and that's the only way they possibly could have charged this particular aspect of the statute, Fred. It brings a 20-year to life sentence for the second-degree felony conviction. But here, they must prove a kidnapping with an intent to have some sort of sexual component involved with the kidnapping. And because it's a circumstantial case right now, they're going to need either eyewitness testimony, a confession, or DNA. And the DNA is going to come from his apartment. They're going to look for torn clothing, blood, anything they can find in that apartment to suggest that there was non-voluntary sex, not voluntary, non. And we know that people say she was intoxicated that night. They have her at a bar with him plying her with drinks. So the question is, okay, did she have the ability to say yes or no? But what happened in his apartment? That's the whole focus right now, Fred. That's the key to this case.
And then, Avery, clearly evidence for, the results of this forensic evidence, all of that will be very important. But are investigators at a stage now where they're even thinking about, as they question him, could they be offering a plea in exchange for more information?
Well, I think that's going to be part of from a prosecution perspective, that's exactly where law enforcement's going to go, because we're dealing with more, in my judgment, than a kidnapping. I mean, Jesse Matthew has enormous problems. And frankly, if I were prosecuting this case, between the credit cards and the statement by the owners of Temple Bar that Hannah could barely stand up, and why in the world is Jesse Matthew 1,300 miles away on Galveston Bay? Well, I think we all know the answer to that. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, if ultimately the defense team winds up being put together, it is not yet. The first thing they're going to be doing is talking with prosecutors and saying, what kind of deal can we put together? And I think the prosecutor is going to say, we want to go forward with both kidnapping and maybe something even more.
And so when you say he's got enormous problems, Avery, are you speaking because, he ended up in Texas and, and that seems suspicious, or is there more to that?
Well, what kind of inferences are you going to draw for a guy grabbing his sister's 1997 blue Nissan heading out for Galveston Bay, probably on his way to Mexico? He's fleeing from the scene. The fact is that the bar owner was saying that he was very aggressive toward women that night, and then he winds up with Hannah Graham, who could barely stand up. I think when you put all this evidence together, it's going to be overwhelming.
All right, go, Richard.
Fred, there is an issue here. They want to find the body. They need the body. So in order to get the body, that might be the impetus for some sort of plea deal here. They need to see the body. But the evidence that he took off and went to Galveston, that's evidence of flight, and that would be admissible that the jury could draw an inference on. But intent in this case is a very big hurdle to prove, Fred. I was going to call you judge. Very big hurdle to prove here. And
overruled.
Yeah, and Fred, in the community and in his church, he's known as a gentle giant. So this is a very defensible case right now on the charges that they brought against him. The DNA evidence, though, is going to be the key to where it's going.
And how much longer will that take? It seems a week out now from when we heard from the police chief, who said there was a collection of evidence from Jesse Matthews' vehicle and apartment, and it would seem that more would be shared, or would they be reticent to share that publicly because
Exactly.
you know they don't want
They're
to
sharing
damage the
nothing.
case?
They're sharing nothing.
We're seeing that.
Yeah.
All right, Avery, Richard, thanks so much. We're going to see you again.